Hi everyone, this is Shefali Girderwal and you're watching ConsultEase with ClearTax. So in this video, I'm going to cover some important changes which are incorporated, which are just introduced by the Union Budget 2022, that is Finance Bill, 2022. So we can segregate these changes in 2-3 parts. The first change is related to some time limits which were being incorporated in CGST Act. But those time limits were very, I will say, confusing. So what they did, they just put a single time limit on 2-3 sections. So I will discuss about that. Then there are some very important, I will say, very cosmetic changes in input tax credit. So input tax credit is something government is very serious about since the inception of GST, and now I mean every single day, with every single change, it is more and more and more restricted, and now it will be even more restricted. So I will say there are some changes which you actually need to know in this particular budget. So a very short time period was given to indirect tax changes in the budget, but I will say the short time period has changed it drastically. And let us start with these changes, right? So first of all, about the time limit. So section 16 subsection 4, that was the time limit for input tax credit. The input tax credit which was left or which was missed in a financial year, so you were being able to take it up to the filing of September's return. So there was a confusion in that. So now the date is 30th of November of next year. So let me take an example. Let's suppose you missed the input tax credit of some of the bills, and now you want to take it after 31st March, let us say 2022. Right, so you can take it up to 30th of November. So up to 30th of November means not return filing, it's 30th of November. The second restriction was about the declaration of credit notes in GSTR 1. Right, so now declaration of credit note can also be done up to 30th of November. It's also changed. And the third restriction was about the amendment of any incorrect information or omission or error in GSTR 1 and 3B. Although it is written in law, but in 3B we all know they don't allow us to change, right? So in GSTR 3B also you will be able to change it. So it's just theoretical. In practically GSTR 3B is not going to change, right? But the date is 30th November now, right? It's 30th of November for everyone. Now, let me scroll you through the changes of input tax credit. So earlier we all understand section 16 is the major section for input tax credit. Section 16(2) was the section which was used to put some restrictions on the input tax credit. So in the starting there were 4 conditions. There was like A, B, C, D, 4 conditions were there. Then they inserted AA. So it was like 16(2)A, AA, B, C and D. Now they have inserted one more clause in subsection B, in the clause B. So now it's 16(1)A, AA, B, B, A and C and D. So now there will be total 6 conditions, and we will read this section with section 48 because it is also changed. Sorry, 38 it is also changed, and we will also read it with 49(12). So these 3 changes will be read simultaneously so that we can understand it. So now let me read the text of section 16(2)BA for all of you, because it's first time we all are reading it, so we really need to go through the exact wording of this provision. It says the details of input tax credit in respect of the said supply communicated to such registered person under section 38 has not been restricted. So section 38 is going to put some restrictions. Now let me go to section 38. What kind of restrictions are there in section 38? And you will think section 38 was about GSTR 2, right? And I mean there was no such restriction, but now it is amended. So section 38 is also changed. Let me scroll you through section 38 now. Yes. So section 38 says the details of outward supplies furnished by the registered person under section 37(1), that is GSTR 1. Alright, we all know that supplier is entering the details in the GSTR 1, section 37(1) return, and it is auto reflected. And of such other supplies may be prescribed, and an auto generated statement will be there, just like 2B and 2A. Right, now let us go to its second subpart. It is saying the auto generated statement which is being prescribed in clause number 1. So which is stated in clause number 1, the auto generated statement, what it will include. First thing it will include is the detail of inward supply for which input tax credit is available. So till now it is in common sense of what is happening right now. So 2B is there, and 2B tells us what are the input tax credit available to us. Now let's come to part B. That is very important. That is something you need to learn. That is something new. Details of supplies in respect of which such credit cannot be availed. So first part was about the credit which can be availed. Second part is about the details which cannot, the credit which cannot be availed. Why it cannot be availed? Let us read. Whether wholly or partly, that's okay, by the recipient on account of. Why? The reason is the details of the said supplies being furnished under section 37(1). It means the details of such supplies being furnished by whom? By any registered person within such period of taking registration as may prescribe. So government will prescribe some period that after taking a fresh registration, till some period you will not be able to pass on the credit. First thing. Second thing, by any registered person who has defaulted in payment of tax and where such default has continued for such period as may prescribe. So if you are making any default in payment of tax for a prescribed period, the bills which are uploaded by you, they are reflecting, but still input tax credit is not available. Next, by any registered person, the output tax by whom in accordance with the statement of outward supply, that is GSTR1, is more than what he has actually paid in GSTR3B. So if there is a difference in GSTR1 tax declared and GSTR3B tax paid, then the invoices which are entered by you will be blocked for input tax credit. That is, your recipient will be able to see those invoices, but they will not be able to claim the input tax credit related to those invoices. Now, don't mix it with the another provision. So we all understand that the law is changed to declare the difference between GSTR 1 and 3B as a self-declared tax, self-assessed tax, and they can make the direct recovery. Very notorious provision. We already covered it in many videos, right? So that is a separate provision that will punish the supplier, but this is a separate provision which will punish the recipient also if there is a difference in any supplier's GSTR 1 and 3B tax liability. Next, by any registered person who during such period as may prescribe has availed the input tax credit more than what was declared in 2B, or as per this this revised statement they are talking in section 30 in section 38. So if there is a difference in what you have claimed and what is auto populated there, your eligible credit as per that statement, so you will not be eligible to pass on the credit. So those invoices will show in your statement but with invalid credit, or they will tell you that the credit of these is not available. And the last is prescribed, and second last, that is fifth one, is as per section 49(12). if it is not fulfilling the condition as per section 49(12). And now if you will search 49(12) in the current act, you will find there is no 49(12) because 49(12) is also introduced by this finance bill only. So what is section 49(12)? If you remember, there was a rule called 86B. Can I hear what was that? 86B was about the payment of tax by cash ledger. At least 1% of tax should be paid through cash ledger and 99% can be paid through input tax credit ledger. So it was putting a condition on input tax credit that it cannot be 100% tax payment in any case, right? So there were many questions that, oh, it's ultra virus, because how you can just change a payment rule and you can curtail the input tax credit. So what they have done, say that, okay, I have the power to bring it into the law, so I am making it a part of CGST Act itself. So section 49(12) is about that. It says notwithstanding anything contained in this act. So this provision is overruling this entire act. The government may, on the recommendation of the council, subject to the condition restrictions, specify such maximum proportion of output tax liability under this act or IGST Act, which may be discharged through the electronic credit ledger. So government will be able to prescribe the maximum tax liability which can be paid through electronic credit ledger. So the balance you will have to pay through electronic cash ledger. So next provision I will be going to discuss about is the interest on input tax credit. Again, the another controversial area. There is a lot of litigation on the same topic because government says the interest will be on the entire amount, whether it's utilized or availed. Taxpayer says no, it should be only on the utilized amount, and I think it's completely fair on the part of taxpayer because revenue loss is not there if it's just availed and not utilized. There are some court cases also in the favor of taxpayers, so the government has humbly accepted this thing and they have changed the provision. They have changed section 50 subsection 3 and they have inserted that, okay, now the interest will be on the amount availed and utilized. That's the good news. What is the bad news? This provision is applicable retrospectively from 2017, 1st July 2017, that is since the inception of GST itself. So now there will be many reopening of cases, or opening, they may not even be opened in the earlier regime, right? So there will be the opening of so many cases, there will be so many notices for every person where they just claimed the input tax credit, they utilized it and then later on reversed it. So earlier they may not be reversing it with the interest. I think most of the people never reversed input tax credit with the interest, but now you will get the notices and they will be able to trace it out and through your returns, and it will be for the accumulative period of 4 years, which is really bad, but yes, it's going to happen. So they have clarified it. It will be on availed and utilized, and the rate of interest will be 18%. And in the first time I have seen that they have not only changed the law itself, not just the law is amended, they also changed the notifications. And I was very surprised to see that okay, now they're changing notifications also in a budget speech, through I will say the finance bill. So some notifications, they picked up the old notification and they said that these notifications are also changed from the inception of GST. So these are the important provisions which I think are the most important. Apart from that, there are some small changes of cancellation of registration, like how it can be cancelled, and there are some small changes. So I am not focusing on them, but I will think this is the provision. These are the changes which are going to hit a lot of people. Lot of notices will be there for the interest on input tax credit. I know it is one of the most controversial area. Then the input tax credit it was like very wide, and it was the basic concept for GST. It was the basic reason for introduction of GST. You know what we are used to say, the free availment, the free utilization, the free flow of input tax credit. But now I think it was never been so much curtailed in the history as it is now. But the thing is, everything is all about compliances. So if you comply, maybe you can get out of these issues. God knows how we will be able to comply with this. So with all these changes, I would like to close this video. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any difference of opinion, because even I have read it like one time only, so if there may be some interpretational issues, I completely accept it. I don't feel any guilt in accepting that. So you can just communicate through the comments, and I will try to answer all of your comments. Mostly I answer most of the comments of the viewers at our channel. So with this, I would like to close this video. Thank you so much, everyone.